Well, Jean-François, your old friend Francois Legault says, what's the use of the Bloc Québécois?
That is a very interesting statement. I watched the exchange between Legault and Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon
Mm-hmm.
yesterday at the question period, and the issue was the inability of the CAC to do anything else than ask the federal government to pay up. Now it's $1 billion worth of services to refugees.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, the reaction of Legault was to say, "You shouldn't criticize me. You should support me in looking at the real culprit." And I'm quoting here, which is the federal Liberal government. And then Plamondon said, "Listen, you're still doing this, and you have a mandate. You ran asking for a strong mandate to ask for all powers related to immigration, and you're not even asking for them in any way, shape, or form in terms of it's not even in the letters you're sending."
Mm.
And then Legault said, "Well, what's the use of the Bloc Québécois?" And it's as though it had just occurred to him. And they were discussing, well, how can we pressure the Liberal federal government? And it's as though it was saying, well, it's not my job. It's not Trudeau's job to give me the money. It's the Bloc's job to deliver. And then I thought the other answer was, well, what's the use of the conservative Quebec MPs that you helped elect? What's the use of the CAC if the CAC doesn't deliver? So it was really, and in a sense, if you know the insides of it, is that the Bloc Québécois and the CAQ government are in very regular contact. And for instance, in the reform of the Official Languages Act, the CAQ had a number of amendments that they wanted to see, and they worked very closely with Bloc MPs to have, which was one of the only gains of the CAQ in Ottawa, which was these new amendments. So turning their back on people who actually carry water for them in Ottawa was really strange.
So, what's behind this, Jean-François? Was it like just an emotional response? Because sometimes Francois Legault is prone to just flip out a bit and lose it, or is this some sort of calculation? What is he trying to achieve here?
Oh no, I was watching.
Yeah.
That was not calculated.
No,
That was
no.
because he knows that he's in a difficult position. He's a former sovereigntist, and now he's saying autonomy within Canada will work, and we're going to ask for things, and once in a while we're going to get these things. And clearly, he's very frustrated that the response of the federal government is not very welcoming now. It was more welcoming and forthcoming in previous episodes of this immigration saga. Somehow the federal government has hardened its position, and so he has this bothersome PQ leader, more popular than he is, telling him your autonomy play doesn't work. Why don't you ask for the powers? And if not, why don't you acknowledge that you need an independent Quebec? So he's in this corner, okay? He's in this frame of mind. He's trying to grasp at anything. And by saying that about the Bloc, which is a recurring theme, well, what's the Bloc for? He just gave to Pierre Poilievre an enormous advantage or argument, and Poilievre just jumped on it today in making his own video about the inefficiency of the Bloc.
And again, Francois Legault, as you know very well, supported the Conservatives, led then by Aaron O'Toole in 2021. Wouldn't it be dangerous to align himself with a guy like Pierre Poilievre in Quebec?
Well, I think, at least Aaron O'Toole was saying a couple of things. He was saying, we will give you a single fiscal rapport d'impôt. How do you say?
Income tax file.
Income tax return. There's going to be only one. That I pledge that. And we're going to be more forthcoming in immigration. There was nothing concrete, but although we disagree with the secularism bill, he said, we will not, as a government, ask the Supreme Court to overrule it. Now, Pierre Poilievre has never said anything about the income tax report, and he actually betrayed his position on secularism in the Supreme Court during the leadership race. So he's not offering anything specific to Quebec. Well, we'll see. There's still, maybe a year, and then Mr. Legault will write his letter to all the party leaders asking for a number of things, and we'll see what Poilievre says. But clearly, the Poilievre's entourage has indicated that they felt that this strategy of offering specific things didn't work for O'Toole, so he's not about to do it. And asked about this last week, he said, the only thing I'm offering Quebecers are great paychecks, and great paychecks.
So moving on, a big story, a major hurdle in the whole negotiation with the nurses, because we've been talking about teachers for so long, we sometimes tend to forget that there's still no deal with the nurses, but it seems like a major hurdle has been crossed with, at least with the nurses represented by the CSN.
Yeah, nurses and other health workers. That is a major thing that just happened. They crafted a solution to two very thorny issues. One was, if we're trying to get the nurses that went to these private agencies to come back as employees of the public sector, will we recognize their seniority? And this means that people will be bumped out of line when these people come back. And at first, the unions were against, and then they decided that they will allow for 5 years. The 5 years will be accepted. So that's a major give from the unions. The other thing that the government wanted was, if there was a shortage of nurses or other workers at some place, and I won't say an overflow, but enough at another place, that they wanted to displace them to get a more efficient repartition, and they wanted to be able to force them to do so. So the unions say, no, you will not force anyone to do that, but if you pay them, there will be more volunteers. So that's the agreement. They will pay them to move to another facility or another department in the hospital, and that will give more flexibility, fluidity, which was what the government wanted. So this is a win-win situation, that's for sure. And it puts the onus on the remaining outside union, which is the FIC, that on this very issue was saying last week that there was no possible solution. Well, now we know of a possible solution. So we suspect that the same offer was made to the FIC. Why don't they think it's a good solution? Now the mic is on them.
All right. Very interesting indeed. Big development on this front. Let's hope that we'll see light at the end of that tunnel. Jean-François Lisée, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure, too. Bye-bye.